The master bedroom needs to be cleared by tonight, my mother-in-law Barbara announced, marching into my house with moving boxes. Amanda needs her space properly set up. She gestured to the young woman trailing behind her, who at least had the decency to look uncomfortable. I stood in my kitchen, coffee mug gripped tightly in my hand, watching this surreal scene unfold. Amanda, my husband's girlfriend of 6 months, shifted nervously from foot to foot, her designer handbag clutched like a shield. "And where exactly am I supposed to go?" I asked, keeping my voice steady despite the rage building inside me. Barbara waved dismissively toward the back of the house. "The garage has that small room attached. That should be fine for now, until you figure out your next steps." My name is Olivia, and at 34, I was watching my mother-in-law try to install my husband's girlfriend in my own home. The same home I'd spent the last 8 years turning into a sanctuary. The same home that now felt like it was being invaded. "This is my house," I said firmly, setting down my coffee before I gave in to the urge to throw it. Barbara's laugh was sharp and cruel. "This house belongs to the family. Michael needs it now for his new life. You should be grateful we're letting you stay at all." Michael, my husband of 10 years, had moved out 3 months ago, claiming he needed space to find himself. Apparently, he'd found himself in the arms of his 25-year-old yoga instructor. I'd known about Amanda for weeks, but them trying to move her into my home, was a new level of audacity. "I'm not moving to the garage," I stated, crossing my arms. "And Amanda isn't moving in here. Don't be difficult, Olivia." Barbara stepped closer, her perfectly manicured finger pointing at my face. "This house has been in our family for generations. Michael's grandfather built it. You're just the soon-to-be ex-wife. You have no right to it." What Barbara didn't know, what none of them knew, was that Michael's grandfather Thomas had been more than just the man who built this house. He'd been my mentor, my friend, and in many ways, more of a parent to me than Barbara had ever been to Michael. I'd spent countless evenings with Thomas in his final years, listening to his stories, learning about the family history, and helping him organize his affairs. Barbara had been too busy with her social clubs to visit him, and Michael had always found excuses not to stop by. But I was there, 3 times a week, until the very end. "The movers will be here this afternoon," Barbara continued, already measuring the windows for new curtains. "Amanda has excellent taste. This place could use a more youthful touch." I watched as Amanda ran her hand along the kitchen counter, the same counter where Thomas had taught me to make his secret recipe pasta sauce. Every surface in this house held memories, not just of my marriage, but of the real family I found here. "I have some work calls to make," I said calmly, picking up my coffee again. "I'll be in my office." "Your office?" Barbara scoffed. "That's going to be Amanda's yoga room. She'll need somewhere to train her clients." I closed my door on Barbara's continued demands and pulled out my phone. With trembling fingers, I dialed a number I'd memorized months ago. "Mr. Patterson? It's Olivia. I think it's time." The lawyer's voice was calm and reassuring. "I was wondering when you'd call. Shall I proceed with opening the trust documents?" "Yes," I replied, hearing Barbara and Amanda's voices float up from downstairs as they discussed paint colors. "It's definitely time." What they didn't know was that Thomas, in his final months, had done more than just share stories with me. He'd seen exactly who his family had become. Barbara's materialistic manipulation, Michael's weak-willed selfishness, and he planned accordingly. I hung up with Mr. Patterson and opened my desk drawer, pulling out an old envelope. Inside was a letter Thomas had given me 2 weeks before he passed away. "Only open this when you need it most," he'd said, his wise eyes twinkling with that familiar mix of mischief and kindness. I'd known this day was coming. I'd seen the signs in Michael's growing distance, in Barbara's increasingly hostile behavior. Thomas had seen it too, long before any of us were ready to admit it. Downstairs, I heard the front door open and Michael's voice join the others. "The movers are on their way," he called out. "Mom, did you tell Olivia about the garage?" I ran my fingers over Thomas's letter, remembering his last words to me. "Sometimes, my dear, justice comes in unexpected ways. Just be patient and trust in what we've planned." The sound of footsteps on the stairs told me they were coming to confront me again. I tucked the letter away and squared my shoulders. Let them come. Let them make their plans and measure their curtains. The trust documents would be unsealed tomorrow morning, And then they'd learn what Thomas had known all along. That family isn't about blood or marriage. It's about who shows up, who cares, who stays. Barbara's sharp knock rattled my office door. Olivia, the movers need to get in there. I smiled, thinking of Thomas and a future he'd helped secure. Come in, Barbara. We need to talk about the house. The door swung open, and there they stood. Barbara, Michael, and Amanda, ready to claim what they thought was rightfully theirs. They had no idea what was coming. What's there to talk about? Michael asked, leaning against my office doorframe with that familiar look of smug confidence. Mom's right. This is a family house. You're not family anymore. I sat calmly at my desk, fingers tracing the edge of Thomas's letter. Actually, there's quite a lot to discuss. Mr. Patterson, the family lawyer, will be here in 20 minutes. Barbara's perfectly penciled eyebrows shot up. Patterson. Why would that old fool be coming here? Because I called him, I replied simply, and he's bringing some important documents that all of you need to see. Michael straightened up, his smugness wavering slightly. He remembered Mr. Patterson from his grandfather's funeral, the stern-faced lawyer who'd given him a disapproving look when he checked his phone during the eulogy. Whatever game you're playing, Olivia, Barbara started, but the doorbell cut her off. That'll be him now, I said, standing up. Shall we move this to the living room? They followed me downstairs, Barbara whispering furiously to Michael while Amanda trailed behind, clutching her designer bag like a security blanket. Mr. Patterson stood at the door, his weathered briefcase in hand, looking exactly as he had the day Thomas had introduced us. Mrs. Collins, he nodded to me, then turned a cool gaze to the others. Barbara, Michael. And this must be the girlfriend. Amanda flushed red as Barbara bristled. Now see here, Patterson. Please, he interrupted. Let's all sit down. We have important matters to discuss. Once everyone was seated, Barbara perched on the edge of the sofa like she was ready to pounce. Michael slouched in his father's old armchair, Amanda hovering uncertainly nearby. Mr. Patterson opened his briefcase. Before his death, the lawyer began, Thomas Collins made certain arrangements regarding this property, arrangements he specifically asked me not to reveal until they became necessary. What arrangements? Michael demanded. Grandpa left everything to the family. Mr. Patterson pulled out a thick envelope. Actually, Michael, your grandfather left this house in a very specific trust. A trust that named one particular person as its executor and primary beneficiary. Barbara's face went pale. That's impossible. This house has always passed through the male line. It belongs to Michael. Not according to this, Mr. Patterson said, removing several documents from the envelope. Thomas was quite clear about his wishes. The house and everything in it was to be placed in trust for the person who, in his words, showed true understanding of what family means. He turned to me, extending the papers. Olivia has the name trustee and beneficiary. These belong to you. The silence in the room was deafening. I took the documents, remembering all those evenings with Thomas, how he'd watched me care for his home, tend his garden, listen to his stories while his own family was too busy to visit. This is ridiculous, Barbara exploded, jumping to her feet. She manipulated him. She took advantage of a sick old man. Mr. Patterson's voice cut through her accusations like steel. Thomas was of completely sound mind when he made these arrangements. In fact, he specifically anticipated this reaction. He pulled out another paper. He left a letter explaining his decision. Shall I read it? Michael was staring at me, his face a mix of shock and dawning comprehension. He remembered all the times I'd invited him to visit his grandfather, all the dinners he'd skipped, all the family stories he'd been too busy to hear. To my family, Mr. Patterson read, if you're hearing this letter being read, it means you've forgotten what truly matters. This house was built not just with bricks and mortar, but with love, with the hope of creating a place where family would grow and thrive. Olivia understood this. While you were all busy with your own lives, she sat with me, learned our history, and showed me what it means to be truly family. The house is hers, to use as she sees fit. Perhaps this will teach you that family is earned, not simply claimed by blood or marriage. Barbara sank back onto the sofa, her face ashen. Michael stood up abruptly, running his hands through his hair in that nervous gesture I knew so well. The movers, Amanda said suddenly, her voice small. They're supposed to be coming. You should probably cancel them, I suggested quietly, since you won't be moving in after all. Mr. Patterson cleared his throat. There's more. The trust also stipulates that any attempt to contest these arrangements will result in the house being donated to the Historical Society. Thomas was quite thorough in ensuring his wishes would be respected. Barbara's mouth opened and closed soundlessly. Michael looked lost, like a child who'd just been told Santa wasn't real. Amanda had already grabbed her phone, presumably to cancel the movers. Now, I said, standing up, I think it's time for everyone to leave. I have some redecorating to do. I looked directly at Barbara, and I won't be needing that garage room after all. The days following Mr. Patterson's revelation brought a parade of reactions from the family. Barbara launched into damage control mode, calling relatives to spin her version of events before word got out that she tried to move her son's girlfriend into my house. Michael oscillated between angry texts and pathetic attempts at reconciliation. We can still work this out, he wrote one evening. The house is big enough for both of us. I didn't bother responding. Instead, I spent my time restoring the house to the way Thomas had loved it. I rehung his old photographs that Barbara had deemed outdated. I brought his favorite armchair back from the attic where Michael had banished it. Each change felt like reclaiming not just my space, but Thomas's legacy. A week after the trust revelation, I was tending Thomas's rose garden when a car pulled into the driveway. It was Amanda, looking considerably less confident than the day she'd walked in planning to take my bedroom. "Can we talk?" she asked, hovering by the garden gate. I gestured to the patio chairs. 5 minutes. She sat, fidgeting with her bracelet. "I didn't know," she burst out. "About the house, about Thomas, about any of it. Michael told me you were just his bitter ex who wouldn't let go. And you believed him," I said, not unkindly. "Just like you believed Barbara when she said you could move in here." Amanda looked down. "I'm starting to see why Thomas chose you. Michael. He's not who I thought he was. Last night he suggested we try to contest the trust anyway, said we could figure out a way around it." I couldn't help but laugh. "That sounds like Michael, always looking for the easy way out." "I ended it," she said quietly. "This whole thing opened my eyes. I don't want to be part of a family that treats people this way." As she left, I thought about Thomas and how he would have appreciated the irony. His final gift hadn't just secured my future, it had revealed the true character of everyone involved. The following Sunday, I hosted my first dinner party in the house since everything happened. I invited Mr. Patterson and his wife, along with a few close friends who'd supported me through the divorce. As we sat around Thomas's old dining table, sharing stories and laughter, I felt his presence in every corner of the house. Barbara made one final attempt at confrontation, showing up unannounced one morning with a manila envelope. "These are photos," she announced, dumping them on my kitchen counter. "Proof that you manipulated Thomas. I'm taking them to my lawyer." I calmly slid them back toward her. "Go ahead. And while you're there, ask your lawyer about the consequences of contesting the trusts. I'm sure the Historical Society would love to give tours of this place." She left, but not before I saw the defeat in her eyes. She knew she'd lost, not just the house, but the power she'd wielded over the family for so long. Michael moved to a different city shortly after. I heard through mutual friends that he was telling people he'd left the house to me out of kindness, rewriting history to protect his ego. That was fine by me. I had the truth, and more importantly, I had Thomas's legacy. 1 year after the failed attempt to move Amanda in, I sat in Thomas's study, surrounded by his books and mementos. The house felt more like home than ever, filled with the warmth and history he'd always cherished. I opened his letter again, the one he'd given me before he died, and read the last lines that had given me strength through everything. "My dear Olivia, a house is more than walls and a roof. It's a vessel for love, for memories, for the kind of family we choose rather than the one we're born into. You understood that when the others couldn't. Take care of our home, and let it take care of you. With all my love, Thomas." I folded the letter carefully and looked around the study, at the life Thomas had built and entrusted to me. Barbara and Michael had seen this house as a possession to be claimed. They never understood that it was really a gift to be earned through love, respect, and genuine care. Outside, Thomas's roses were blooming, their fragrance drifting through the open window. The house felt alive, not with the chaos Barbara and Amanda would have brought, but with the peaceful energy Thomas had always cultivated here. In the end, the property trust hadn't just given me a house. It had given me the freedom to honor Thomas's memory in the way he deserved. And somewhere, I knew he was smiling, satisfied that his home had ended up exactly where it belonged.